Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. We are on the Quilted Witch today, Stronger Together, and I have a few other things because there's a little sequence of how I do things that I've been wanting to show you for a long time. Plus I have the quilt up on the back wall. I have the fruitcake. Okay, let me just swing it around. Look how pretty this is. I am so excited. This is with the ballerina pink background, and it's using fat eighths, which is half of a fat quarter bundle. It is so fun to do. I love, you can really see that quilting, can't you? So let me just zoom in. There you can see the binding. So I'm going to just scan down so that you can see how it changes. I have different fabrics, and now we go to a lighter fabric, but also you can see the quilting on this. It turned out so darling, so darling. So I am super happy about this one. This was so fun to do, and I am super delighted to have it on the wall. There you can see the binding changing down around the bottom. So fun. Doing the hanging sleeve on this was a little bit funky for me because I didn't save any fabric. I just did this little clip. This is all I kept. I know that there was edging on this, and I just don't know what happened. I didn't keep anything more of this to do the hanging sleeve. I know there was more of that. I don't have it. I may have given that away for charity to work. So I went looking, and I did find some mushrooms and orange, so that's going to go with the other mushroom fabrics. So I decided just to go ahead and put a blue hanging sleeve and just doing a narrow one on here because this is going to hang here behind my table. So excited. So the binding is light. It's scrappy. It's a bunch of the light blues from there, all the light blues, which were from the front of it. So this is the fruitcake, which is a free pattern from the Fat Quarter shop, and I used, what did I use? I kept it, Brigitte Heitland's Lazy Afternoon fabric. Yeah, there it is. So that's what I used. I am really going to enjoy having that hanging here in my studio space. I love it so much. I love the colors, and it'll probably hang up here for a couple months. I probably won't switch this one out for a little while, but it is a great quilt. If you have not made that one yet, it's a free pattern, and I'm sure you have some fabric at home. So I will link you in the description box below. So next we're going to talk about the thing that I've been wanting to talk about, wanting to film. I decided that I needed to get this, here we go, get the fat quarter 4 patch. There we go. I keep forgetting the name of this one. Somehow it does not roll off my tongue. So I have it ready to go. I did add, move this, I did add a little border on here. But I wanted to show you a few things about getting this ready and then cutting the wide back fabric. So I've kind of been wanting to do that, just talking about the binding. I made scrappy binding, and so let's take a look. So to do the scrappy binding, oh, you gotta see all of it. So I just did the color. I did 4 of each strip, and these were, I think, from a Fat Quarter, and so they're all about this size. Some are a little bit shorter. I don't think they're any longer. So I did four of each. And I don't know if that's enough binding, but I am going to do them in that color order. And then after I've sewn all of these, I'll check how much I've made. And if I need some more, then I'll just cut 1 of each for however much I need left. So I didn't want to cut a 5th one and then find out this was already plenty. I figured it was easier just to do it after I tried it. And for the Fat Quarter 4 patch, first I'm going to sew these. They're 1.5 inch strip that'll go all around the outside, and then this scrappy binding will go on afterwards. So that's what I'm doing to get that done. So this is what it looks like as it's coming together. Isn't that cool? I don't know. That's maybe why I like this scrappy binding. I'm sort of like enjoying the scrappy binding. And then what I'll do is like the next piece, I'm doing this one-handed here, but the next piece just goes on here at the end, and then I do a diagonal seam across there. Hold on, I'll sew it. So just sewing that diagonal across here, and then picking up the end of it. Oops, that's not that one, that's the last set. So the end here, now I've got this blue with the cherries, put that across, and then, you know, this doesn't take long, and I did 4 of each, and there are, what, about nine different fabrics, I think. And so it has a bit more high contrast than like when I did the fruitcake one, where they were all mostly light blue. And so this binding will definitely have more contrast to it. But you just kind of create all of this loveliness here, which I think is so pretty. I don't know why, I just really like that. Here it all is, the binding, and I basically just measured out all 4 sides of the quilt, and I have tons. I have a bunch of extras, so that's good. So I've got plenty of binding for this guy. So I am going to get it ready to go to the spa, to the long armor. Now I want to be sure I mark it. If there is a top to your quilt, mark the top for your long armor, because they may not see there's a definite top to it. Mine is a little bit hidden. There are flags in here, and some, you know, like in this particular print, the flags are not like, you know, like front and center, because this was done from, you know, a pre-cut, so you just got what you got. So this is, the top is marked on here. Like, they're a little bit more obvious down here, but do not count on somebody else to know what you consider the top of your quilt, because even if there's no directional fabric, you might have like a certain color placement, and this needs to be at the top. So always, 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 always mark the top of your quilt, and never with a pin, because you don't want somebody to stick themselves. I often staple it in here. My long armor's local now, so I'm not shipping it, so I just go ahead and use a wonder clip, but never put a pin. You do not want to hurt somebody. They'll stick themselves. Okay, now we have to cut the backing. Let me just talk to you a little bit about that. I am going to use my Harmony wide back in this kind of raspberry red, which I think is pretty cool. So what I need to do is, wide backs are, you know, quite long, you know, so they're bigger yardage, so I don't need to piece anything, but I also want to cut it on my shortest length. So the shortest, my top is shorter than the length. So this is not a square quilt, it's a rectangle, and it's a rectangle where the length is the longer part. So I just need to measure the width across the top, you know, what this is, and then I will cut about 10 inches, because I'm very generous. I just cut a lot of extra for the long armor to use. You can probably ask your long armor how much they really need of the backing extra. You know, I don't have to be frugal, but sometimes I have to be, because I don't have enough of the fabric I want to use, so I have to be frugal, or I have to sew like a piece on so that it won't actually be on the backing, it'll just be on the rods for the machine. So anyway, so if this were like 60 inches wide, you know, if this was 60 inches wide, then I would cut 70 inches off of here. And then the length will be extra long, because it's 108, and I don't need 108, so I will trim it a little bit, because I don't need to send all that extra. So that's what I'll do now. Here you can also see I cut a 1.5 inch strip, little tiny border around the whole thing, and then there'll be that scrappy binding. And I can use this also to square up the quilt a little bit if I need to for some reason, but then you'll have this little bit of rim like this, and then, you know, then it'll have the binding. So anyways, to measure, I just use like the 30-inch mark, and I just make 30, however many I need to find out how wide it is. This is not a precision thing to cut the backing. It's not a precision piecing, so I just can, you know, rough estimate that. So I'm at 30 and about 32, so I will do, that's 62, so I will do a 72 inches wide on that backing. So here is what it looks like, and it's what's double folded over. So normally you would have just one fold for your regular width fabric, but because this is so long, it's got a double fold, and I cut it on the double fold because, again, I'm not doing precision patchwork with this. This is cutting backing, and so I want it to be straight, but it doesn't have to have, you know, precision to it. I also, because of me, the way I am, I have to write down the sizes, And so that is what I will be cutting the shorter length first, and then trim it down to the other length. And those don't need to be quite that long for most long armors, and mine doesn't need them that long, but I always just do that anyways because I can't remember exactly what they want. So I should write it down someday, right? I should write it down. So I just have to take my, I have to take this and measure out the 72. So I just measure along here, just like I showed you before, just measure the 72, 60, and see it's bulky. And of course I have some bigger yardage here, and there's 30, 60, and do about 72, and I put a pin. So when I got a pin in there, so now I know that that's where I'm going to cut, and I can just move, move this over, and it's got this double, so I'm cutting through 4 layers. And it's too long to fit on the, it hangs off. Here's my cutting mat. So I will cut part of it and then finish. But it's not that big of a deal because, like I said, I just want to keep reiterating, we're not dealing with a precision patchwork. We're cutting a backing, so you don't have to be worried about all kinds of things that we worry about as quilters. Okay. All right, so this is, there we go. So this part I will refold. And now for this guy, and you always want to be careful that you don't accidentally, cut it wrong on the second cut. But see, it's open. So I've got 1, 2 layers and a fold, 3 layers, 4 layers. So I want to open this up. So I got that open now. And I'll do the second cut, and then that's it. There's no piecing of a background on a wide back. So, but as you're opening this, just be sure that you're on the, you keep your selvage. Like my selvage is here, and it's down here. You can check it. You should have a selvage on either end. Here it is. Here's the other end. So, you have it right. And there I need to be about 86. So 30, 60, and 16. No, 26. See, you got to think. 30, 60, 90 would be at 30, so I'm at 26. So I'll put the pin here and then trim. Once again, be sure when you go to trim that you aren't catching all this extra fabric. Push it aside, there we go. So I have, what's nice here is I actually have a fold from the fabric, and so I will use it. I'm close to it. If I was going to make it a little bit shorter, I could just cut on the fold, because see, here's the fold, but I'm going to cut just on the side of it and use the fold. The fold is like at the 4-inch. So as long as I have the 4-inch on the fold, then I'm cutting straight enough. Right? Straight enough to go all the way across. So there we go. That's what I'm doing, just getting this trimmed off. So I'll have this extra piece here. There we go. So I'll have this much extra. I'm trimming off the bottom for this quilt. So once again, let me hold it up now that you've seen all the parts. And I'm going to be using that pinky red Harmony wide back for the backing of it, and I really like putting that little edge. I debated, I almost didn't do it, but then I thought, I really enjoy having that little edge on there for the quilts. And here is the binding still. I didn't press it yet, but it's on the list to do. It'll get there. I'll get there. I'll press it. So I've got this all ready to go. It is actually being delivered. I'm filming this in advance, of course. And I'm not filming the day that you watch it. Always at least the day before, which is the case today. But I will be giving these to long armor to my spa. That's what the spa is today. So now I want to talk about the Quilted Witch My Garden version, which is the Witchless Witch version. So here is Lori Holt's pattern with the Fat Quarter Shop as so Emma Publications, and I wanted to do one without the witch, so to be more fall oriented and smaller. The witch is very large. It's like full size person size. It is big. And I wanted to just do the witch's garden with pumpkins and things like that. So there's more pumpkins. And I have stuff up here, and we're going to do that row. So I'm going to talk about that and show you how to get that going. Let's take a look at what we're doing. That's the book. You need that because that has some of the sashing things that you need to have. It's not all, I don't write the things from the book, and I reference sizes in the book for what we're doing. So you're taking the pumpkin, which you've already made, and we're doing this section here, which is right under the top section that we already have up there. So it's the pumpkin, it's this quilted spell, and the magic star. And then you go into your pattern in the book, and you find the cut sizes for all the letters that I gave you. And then this is a new cut size that's given right here. So we're gonna cut that. And so what I'm gonna do is just cut those and put them up on the wall and talk about placement of the blocks. This week we're going to sew the section right under here, and so we're just going to build the next couple weeks the sections down with the pumpkins and the leaves. So what I have is I decided, I have 3 big pumpkins. This one has the floral, and this one has the purple plaid. And when I looked up here, I've got that floral right here, so I didn't want to put this pumpkin there. So I decided on this plaid. Now, we don't have any more of these blocks, so we're done with that style block. And the other thing we have, let me get them here, are these stars. Now, some of them have plaid, so because I have a big plaid piece in the pumpkin, I will eliminate those. So that leaves me 2 to pick from. So I think I'm going to go ahead with the orange star, and I've already cut now all the other pieces, so I can place that in here and show you what it looks like. So let's pull all the way back. There. Look at that. Looks so good. Love it, love it, love it. So I'm just going to sew that row. Well, I sewed the row to the top, so I have this section started. It is so cute, right? So cute. Even when I put them up by, next to each other before they were sewn, you really can get an idea of what it's going to look like. So there you go. This is this week's section, the one with the pumpkin. And then we have, I think, 3 more sections. And if you're, some of you are working ahead because this is your main project, which is totally fine. But I think I've got 3 more weeks, and then we will wrap this baby up. Nice, right? And I'll have it for the fall to share. Okay, we're going to do Stronger Together. Let me just get the stuff out for that block this week. Stronger Together is a fundraiser with the Fat Quarter Shop for the United Negro College Fund. They have already raised, since 2021, they've already raised $45,000. The United Negro College Fund, their mission is to help African American students get into college and finish to finish college. They want to have more, and they do this by doing scholarships and helping with finances and things like that. So that is the mission of this organization. We have a goal of $5,000 for this fundraiser, and we are more than halfway there, just over the halfway mark. So I hope you'll go and donate $15 and download the pattern and sew it along with me. This week, the block is by Mary Davis, which is going to be the star block. And she said that she was inspired by the brave young Black boys and girls who sort of paved the way for all of the education that happened and changes to how they could get into the schools, how Black children could get into school. So that's her inspiration behind her block. You can read about it in the pattern. All right, here's my block from last week. And let me just show you the fabrics I'm going to pick for this week. So you can see I'll leave the block over here. This is the fabrics that I'm kind of leaning towards, adding in some more navy and the gold and everything. So I am going to do gold in the center and the points. That's what this is. The center and these 4 points here will be gold. The star points will be navy. Then I thought, well, maybe I'll pull, remember I had this out before? Maybe I'll pull this for the middle, and I like that. So these will be on the outside here, and the center will be this floral. Then I have some more of my florals. I believe the bigger points will be this area here will be this medium blue. And then I think for this sort of shading, I'll go with this lavender. Very pretty soft lavender. And that way it brings some of the pink from here. So I got that in all the blocks. Next week, I'm definitely going to start, I may even start it ahead of time, but we'll talk about it. I'm going to start the border units. And so I've kind of made some color ideas, and I'll walk you through that next week. So let me go ahead, it's depending. I'll review it. If it's going to work, I'll talk about it. I'll tell you what I end up with. So let me just cut all this and make the block. I love how this turned out. This just, oh, look how cool. I'm glad that I switched this out to a little print in here. It's got the same gold tone, but just gives it a little bit of extra sparkle in the center. And the kind of light lavender from my fabric line is just, yeah, so soft. It's very subtle. Also pulls the lavender out of that blue. See in there? Okay, so what does it look like next to the other? It'll be like this. So here we go. There we are. Ta-da! Stronger together, right? I hope you join me with this fundraiser. It's going to be a gorgeous little quilt. Really, really wonderful. Okay, you've also got witches to work on, pumpkins and settings, and oh my. Okay, my friend. I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.